Tonight at 10 o'clock, a man in Buncombe County sentenced to more than 2 decades in prison after being found guilty of multiple child sex crimes. Christopher Sheridan, on your screen there, found guilty of 4 counts of statutory rape of a child by an adult, 3 counts of statutory sex offense with a child by an adult, 1 count of incest under the age of 13, and 1 count of obstructing justice. Officials say they started investigating when the victim told her mom Sheridan sexually assaulted her and touched her inappropriately back in 2018. Deputies investigated these allegations but didn't file charges because the victim took back those claims when Sheridan reportedly threatened her. In 2021, the victim reported the assaults again when a friend revealed she was also a victim of Sheridan. The judge also ruling that Sheridan needs to register as a sex offender and never contact the victims again. He must also use satellite-based monitoring for 10 years after he gets out of prison.